Welcome back to my personal favorite segment on this channel, Underrated Flicks, where I get to talk about movies that not everyone knows about, but I do. I know a lot about these movies, and I just want to tell you guys about them. I decided to do an Underrated Flicks video on this movie in particular because, well, the other day I was feeling a little bit down. And as I was laying in my self-pity, I was looking at my movies, thinking, gee, what will pick me up? And I found the brightest case I had on my movie shelf, and I decided to put that movie in. And that movie was Kung Fu Hustle.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with.
Kung Fu Hustle was written and directed by Stephen Chow, and it stars Stephen Chow and a whole lot of other people who I'm not even going to try to embarrass myself trying to pronounce their names, because I'm not good at pronouncing names. Just as a heads up, there's like a daycare center right next to my place. So if you hear some screaming kids, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it, okay? Just don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Kung Fu Hustle is inspired by a lot of the classic Kung Fu movies that came out of China in the 1960s. And the story of Kung Fu Hustle follows a very tried and true plotline that, a lot of classic Kung Fu movies followed. There's a small town of people who are being threatened by a local gang, and it's up to a bunch of Kung Fu warriors to help save the day. Even though it's a plotline that we've seen many, 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 many times, we've never seen it told in this way. Even though this movie's an extremely goofy comedy and like an outlandish action flick, everything was put together with extreme skill. Stephen Chow obviously has a passion for the classic Kung Fu movies, and you can feel that through the screen. The fight scenes are extremely well choreographed, and the plot line and just all of the characters and everything in it makes you feel like you're watching an old Kung Fu movie. Every scene feels like everyone on set is just having an awesome time. It pays great homage to like the classic movies, while also adding in something extremely new and doing things that are innovative, and also playing with the technology that we have now. They use special effects in this movie that you never would think you'd see in a Kung Fu movie, but they use it very, very well. So there's a scene in this movie where there's two characters chasing each other, and for no reason, no apparent reason whatsoever, their legs start spinning real fast, like Sonic, like the Roadrunner, like literally, it's the Roadrunner, and they're just chasing each other, and it has nothing to do with anything, but it's there. And in an interview with Stephen Chow, the director, actor, star, producer, the interviewer asked him, "Whoa, why'd you have this scene in it?" And he was like, "Well, I really liked the Roadrunner, and I looked it up, and no one had done a live-action Roadrunner scene. So I decided to do it because no one else did." That's such a good thought process to have before going into a movie. It's like, you know what? What's something no one has ever done before? Let's do that. I love that. I love his passion. You can definitely feel that there's a passion in the filmmaking in this movie. Now, the only time, like, special effects did feel like a bit much, because I'm not a fan of CGI. I'm not. Unless it, like, improves the story, I think we can do without it. The only time that I thought, alright, this is a bit much, was there's one scene where he's like in a traffic light, and he's like healing himself after like a funny little bit where he was getting hurt a lot, and he's just throwing a temper tantrum with like giant lips because he got bit by a snake, and it's a ridiculous scene that we could have gone without. Like, it didn't feel like it was adding anything, but also it wasn't that great. I just think the movie could have done so much better without that one scene. But it's okay. It's okay. I'll let it fly because everything else in this movie was masterfully done. So because Stephen Chow had such a specific idea of what this movie was going to look like, all of the sets, all of the towns, all of the buildings, everything in this film, like production design-wise, was built from the ground up. Yeah. It's so amazing because, like, everything in this movie feels so lived in. Everything feels like this is a small shanty town. Everything feels like an actual place that people are surviving in, that people are inhabiting. And that's amazing when you can have that kind of immersion from something that you've built specifically for this film. And the music. Even the music is great. The entire score of this film was done only with classic Chinese instruments, and it feels like a classic movie. Everything comes together so well. And with film scores, a lot of times, they're just there. They're just there, you know? But with this, it's such a unique score. It's just, it gets you pumped up. And when you hear music from this movie, outside of this movie, you know that it's from Kung Fu Hustle. Something that could have just easily been a goofy comedy is a very masterfully done film. And the comedy aspect is also extremely well done. It's insane. This movie's crazy. The humor, it's out of this world. Like, it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, while also having, like, extremely well choreographed fight scenes. The actor Bill Murray, yeah. He saw this movie and he loved it, and he had something really interesting to say about it. In an interview, Bill Murray said, "Kung Fu Hustle is the supreme achievement of the modern age in terms of comedy. There should have been a day of mourning for American comedy the day that movie came out." So, I'm not just some kid saying, hey, this movie's funny. Bill Murray said this movie's one of the funniest movies of all time. It's a great film, and just everyone should be aware of this. Like, everyone. Now, in this movie's defense, it is the highest grossing film to come out of Hong Kong. The only thing is, I don't hear about it that much. You know, I had gone so long without seeing this movie. I've, like, kind of heard about it, but not much. I thought, oh, it's just this goofy movie that has, like, a cult following. And I only saw this movie, like, a few months ago. A friend showed it to me, and the movie opens up with some amazing directing. Like, some of the shots in this movie are just very, very masterfully done. And then the opening credits come up, and there's a gang of bad guys. Just a gang doing a dance number. Because this is Kung Fu fucking Hustle. And they can do that. And I loved it. Like, the second that this gang of bad guys started dancing, I was like, how have I gone my entire life without seeing this movie? How has this happened? Who let this happen? All of the elements molded together to make this film one of the most unique movie watching experiences you'll ever have. So, I'm going to give Kung Fu Hustle 9.5 out of 10. It's a solid good time. So immediately after watching the movie for the first time, I knew I had to own it. And I knew I had to own, like, the best edition of it, because I didn't want just a cheap DVD that I found at a pawn shop. No, I'm a film connoisseur. I had to have the top product of Kung Fu Hustle. So I looked it up, and on Best Buy they had a steelbook. And if you know me, you know I loves my steelbooks. Look at it. Look how pretty that is. That's a real pretty steelbook, guys. Look at it. And I know you're thinking, why is there a fist punching a lollipop? Well, watch the movie and you'll find out. No, you can't borrow my copy of it. Don't even ask. But, yeah, for a good time, check out Kung Fu Hustle. So thank you for supporting us. It's lovely. It's great. We're trying real hard here. Go check out our newest gaming video. I had a lot of fun making that. Are you wearing a Ninja Turtle shirt because you're reviewing Kung Fu Hustle? Yeah. Why? Because that doesn't make any sense. They don't do Kung Fu. They're ninjas. Shut up, Batman! Once again, thank you for watching. You're beautiful people.